This is day 385 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. If you'd like to sponsor upcoming Shir Arukh HaShulchan Yomi or more, it's coming to me directly. Be very greatly appreciated. Today we're doing Siman Reish Samach Daled, Sif Yud, to Reish Samach Hey, Sif Bot. And of course, we are still talking about Havrochas Neros. Yud. Avrabina Amar Kosab. The Sif Yud Aleph. The Yeshman. Some people say the Yesh near Echad Midvarim Mitorim. If you have one of your candles, which is from the permitted substances, you can use the other ones for the other candles, the forbidden substances. So to something which is possible to do without a candle. You do it even by other forms of candles. In other words, since you don't need a candle to do it, because we're not concerned that you're going to come and tamper with the wick, with the oil. Until Shabbos, you should go by the Yavad, if it's necessary for the Shabbos, you can be lenient, but the Yavad, Akal Shana, and the quote from the Ramah. Yeshiv Shir Shtosh B'Yusha, those who explain the Ramah as follows. The Im Yesh Ner Mutar, if there's a permitted candle, Mutar Shtamish Eitzel Asurim, allowed to use the two things opposite the forbidden candles, even when they're in another room. The Echad Kosher, since then, since there's one kosher candle somewhere in the house, Yizkar, you'll remember, it won't come to play with the wick in the other places either. Something which is possible without a candle, such as to draw wine from a cellar, etc. But the atomic it's always permitted. Gam below near kosher, even if you don't have a kosher candle. Yesh lokel tzarich Shabbos, one can be lenient for the purpose of Shabbos. Uksha omed apostle etzel kosher, when the apostle candle is adjacent to the kosher candle, you can use, you can do stuff opposite the candles regardless. I feel them aim as Shabbos, even if it's not so necessary for Shabbos. The halacha writes, and according to Eliyahu Rav, if it's not so Shabbos, should be machmir. Mishnah Berurah said that the Chadchila should not even light a kosher candle in proximity to a apostle candle, vice versa, of course. Yud Aleph, halavush yishmid zelagam. Halavush leaves us all out. Lemas kulas gedolah, same. Truth is that these are very big leniencies to say these things. There are difficulties to raise upon this position from the Sukkot and the B'Shas. Where most Poskim not seem to have went in this direction. The Gam Ein the Svara Cloud is also not a logic. The Sheish Nation Ner Kosher, just because you have a kosher candle, you use Gam you remember not to use the post ones. Gamash Kosef also what he wrote, I feel 8 even if it's by the other candles, in proximity to them, it's totally unnecessary. It's only about the other candles, not about the kosher candle. Therefore, it says I have a simple shot in the Ramah altogether. This is what he means to say. When there's a kosher candle standing in a room where there are apostle candles, then you're allowed to use the apostle candles. The you won't come to play with the wick, or because he has a good light from the kosher candle. But in another room, it's taka also. And afterwards it says, however, it's something which you can do and without a candle, with us near kosher cloud. Even there's no kosher candle available at all. That seems to me the low, lahakel, the yoser, not to be more extraordinarily lenient in this regard. The Mishnah brings them out like this. If it's a case where there is something which doesn't require a candle to do, you need another kosher candle in the house. Something you do. Because, otherwise, I don't think you'd say it's a mitzvah. Mr. Berurah does mean on both opinions and doesn't determine whether you can be about whether you can be in another room or not, in terms of the fact that having an air kosher, using an air parcel in another room, just brings down opinion and is not specifically possible. Yubei, Samali Gasaneh, somebody lights a candle, if He has to light most of the wick. Mashiach is coming out of the candle. Out of the candle. If not, is likely to go out. With a wax candle, or a tallow candle. So she had to light most of the wick. Rosh Haner is on the top of the candle. But you don't have to uh, make the uh, don't have to prepare the wick by making it um, by um, by making it what would you charcoaly. We're looking for the moment. Uh, uh, like because without that, it's also going to light well. And now Mahaprabhu started to aim at leaking a little bit smart tutin. The Bahag says you don't light with rags, like a big deal of Shabalu, worn out linen clothes, rags, nor with a wick which is not already pre-birthed, which was you Mahav. So mind is fillet. So Arukh says mostly the come with the answer Hebrew. You don't really require a Hebrew that should be made the charcoal ahead of time. Instead of Hebrew Gomer, that's complete Hebrew. Klamar meaning she has lika b'toiv that should be fully lit, v'chabois and then extinguished. The Nazi is karav leifer. Then in that case, it's close to ashes. The yafa lika is then it's certainly very easy and straightforward to light. But a little bit of a singeing is necessary. Okay, if not, won't be lit won't light it properly. That we can't use rags. You can't actually singe them because they're so old. It says in the brackets here. Fine, but says of Tabi Mashi Chichani or Zevaduk. It says we see what compelled to say this. Women have the minhag to light the wick and then to extinguish it, so that it should be singed. And the fire should take hold of it well. Mr. Bora, very famous Mr. Bora, says that the husband should do this. And this will be an advantage that the wife will not tarry when the time comes to light the candles. The Chazanish, if I recall correctly, says, without candles, this is not relevant. And on the contrary, he says, if I recall correctly again, without candles, it makes it harder to light if it's been lit already once. I think especially because our candles, I don't know if Chazanish's time, but our candles have this sort of wax coating on the wick itself. Back to Shulchan. You can't light on the table you're eating in a old pottery candle. They should most because it's republic. If it's glaze, more paliva, ocean because it's glass, animals, then it is not disgusting when you're allowed to use it on the table. Mishra says if a very poor person doesn't have any other type of candlestick, he's still allowed to use that rather than not light candles, which are obligatory on Shabbos. You give a Yontav Shchalos by Shabbos, and Yontav comes out of Shabbos. You can't use a piece of garment which you wrapped around to your wick if it was precisely 3 by 3 beforehand. Every time I had 3 by 3, it's both. Our shlosh is both. Shane Cleos that had a keli in the tuma. Became that leap point you once a little bit of it. Havale sheverkli, you made a broken kli. And you can't use broken kalim to light on yontif because it's muktzak. But if you already wove it or twisted it, but if yontif asab sila made it a wick, find his batla mutar to clear already has lost its status as a keli, and therefore you can use it mutar you can use it to light on Erev Shabbos, which comes out on Yosef. Rei Samachet, also retain Kli Tachas Haner, to put a vessel underneath the candle. Kasher Ben says to receive olive. Ein osnim Kli Menuka Malay Shemen Al Pi Haner, you can't put a perforated vessel full of oil on the top of the candle. There should no table the closer to drip inside the candle. It's a decree lest you come to use that oil. And then if you remove the oil from the candle, you are liable because of extinguishing. You could grow a seed or charosis if it is put there, fixed permanently by plaster or by um, lime. It's permissible. Kemshu kliyachot, since it's one vessel, badum minay mishum Mr. Shabbos. You're not going to come take any oil from it or add oil because the prohibition of Shabbos ad kalashon and kol from Beis Yosef. Zeh Mishnah. This is a Mishnah. It's where it says Shabbos. Chavtes lo yikav them shofer shel beitza. A person should not puncture the tube of an egg. Some say it's an actual egg. It's like an ostrich egg, which used to hold oil. I like the Arukh HaShulchan son, the Torah Mima's explanation that shofer shel beitza. It is a reed from the marsh. In other words, it's a reed which you put into your lamp and it holds oil in the reed. And that would be, makes much sense, the language of Shoferes, which is a tube. Should be shil shem tefes, in order that it should drip down oil. Even if it's made out of pottery, which is repugnant. We're afraid you're going to take oil from that egg or from that tube. Because since it's a keli unto itself, it's not in the candle, actual candle. People don't think there's a prohibition in this. They say did not mention that even if it's cheres, it's impermissible. And because of stam kli, so once he wrote that no vessel is permitted, everything is considered included. The rak the Mishnah she's kirish for pizza, and only in the Mishnah which mentions a tube of a reed, the tube of a marsh. Basically, who said the shocheres mutter between a pirate is permissible. It comes to say the comes also that's also prohibited. The Gam Amrushon Gemara also says lo ba'ina chibur shel oman. In order to be considered connected, you don't need the connection of a craftsman. If you chibur ba'bayis, the ba'bas made the connection to chibur cholash, which is the reconnection. You come mutter, nevertheless, it is permissible. The game chain weekly achas, since there is to be one vessel, you're not going to take from the oil. Based on Arvation, because of the she stop, you describe Shumachabe. She astonished me, says, well, you're going to move oil from this contraption, you're going to be high because of extinguishing. As I know, Machabe. How can we say extinguishing? How Hashem and Bichliv Hayats with oils in its own vessel. Lemas a Rambam, Perakeh, then you base on to a Lois Kirushi, describe Shumachabe. They didn't mention this liability because of Machabe. Elahu Issa Ba'alma. Rather, it's a generic rabbinic prohibition. Came to the nair once it's designated for the candle. Also, it's documented you can't use it for another purpose. But it's not because you're extinguishing anything. But the Kfar Koso takes the Beitza, the harder than we stop it, this is right, that what you say that somebody who removes candles is liable because of Mechabe, as designation Makdinu, or that's only if you actually diminishes the illumination. Right, so it's not relevant when the oil is by itself. Rashi Mishnah also wrote that the oil is liability because of mechabe, extinguishing the tzarech, so unclear. I always understood that means that cause it to go out quicker. That's also a form of extinguishing. He says in the brackets of Bad Rashi tzarech as Rashi is difficult. Shekasa writes the Kim still in there. Says he does it for the candle. Chai mishum mechabe. I go to show you liable because of extinguishing. Hitzchah muktzah started with muktzah, designated. The same keeper ended with the prohibition of extinguishing. Vatzasi Rapnei Yoshua, Shama Bazayin Sham, because the time of Shel Harambam or Muktzah, when Yoshua has a discussion with this, he writes that the Rambam is reasoning back because of Muktzah. Kimball, Yushami Omer Gamri Tam Acher. Yushami is a completely different reason. Yusham Mavir. Move the oil, you're high because of Mavir, because of igniting. By the Africa, the Mutalik on Erev Shabbos, even though you're allowed to light a candle on Erev Shabbos, Shay Dolekas Kol Shabbos, just burn all of Shabbos. Zelk Shukulam Biyachad, that's when it's all together. So it's all one big reservoir of oil. But here where the oil is by itself, the novel tipos will throw it in there and it drips down into the candle. And it's carbos the tipos each drip is separate from the other drips. So it means so shah tipa, and over Shabbos, so the drip which falls on Shabbos, hareg shall also be a dime. It's as if you did it with your own hands, dripping it into the candle. So that would be like igniting the fire on Shabbos. So now you're going to pour from the tube into the actual candle on Shabbos. And that's certainly because of your extending the use of the fire. Rambam Batur Masha Sheisim Shu Muktzeh. Rambam seems to learn the answer is Muktzeh. Abu Mishum Mechaber Hu Tamur. But to say it anyway, that's because of extinguishing is very difficult. It says in brackets. Lechem Mishnah Sham Hikshal Rambam. Lama Lekosaf Mishum Mechaber Ein Sham. But Kushiyas Tamur. Lechem Mishnah asks the question. It's himself difficult. Down besides Mishakasa Row found one who writes the Makan Yochlios Kibui Mamish. It could be literally extinguishing. The Einach Hashem Hashem is topic Mamish first. Actually, it might take a little bit from the tube. Hashem Ikach Hashoperes Kula Me'aleh. They're going to remove the entire tube. But or else it's even while it's still dripping. But you scab and Mamish Gam, it's also going to be literally extinguished. So now Rosh based debates off. Hey Mishnah Zuraya, Rosh means evidence in this Mishnah. The loka tesis, not like tesis the time, but the mistapechai mishum mechaber. The reason that you're taking the oil is because you're extinguishing mishum the ma'id or because you're diminishing the light. So hacha ein or mitzma'id, the light is not getting diminished. The im kosem less chaim mishum mechaber, you're not light because of extinguishing. Ela tam mishum gram kibui. So the reason is because you're causing extinguishing. If you stop him when you use the oil, Yigram Shiktismar Chabos is going to go out quicker. The ground kibui because there, everybody agrees that causing an extinguishing like this to go quicker. Everybody can see it's like Mechaba, and therefore it should be prohibited. Ayin Shah. Brackets he says, Rashi, Lo Mechaba Mamish. Rashi Nami says it's actually extinguishing. It's like extinguishing. Below Zachai did not recall how Divrei Harosh Shevenu. Seems those mamish extinguishing. But Krash Rosh Losifa, Nishkim and Divrei Ramash Shloma Ayin Sham Heit Beduk. Bezer Akmach Shen Tzur Gufa can move on. Thing is, it's not going to be a chiv skill. As much Shen Tzur Gufa, removing the oil is not extinguishing Amanas to light. Here it's real in order to use it in a different manner. Hey, Ochin Yusham. We also learned that Lema Adam Karashem and Yishum full a plate full of oil. We then inside on there and put it next to the candle. We then Moshe Absil B'Socha and put the end of the wick inside. But should draw oil from that second vessel. The Zayra Shem we started because maybe you're going to come to use the oil yourself. Mishmur says if that's the case, so then if you actually cemented it on, it'll be okay. In the previous case. And then it says, here it can actually because of extinguishing. Came the Rosh Psila because the end of the wick is inside the second bowl of oil. Avam Ramam Vor, but the Ram from the Ram is clear, the Gam is it's also Muktzah issue. Ayin Shom Shishma Din Zela Koyim like this halach the previous halacha. So I have to say the came Hashem and Habe Bikliv Niatzmo. Since the oil is in a vessel by itself, it's not called extinguishing when you take that oil. Came before me at Torah, the Din Echad Lahem. Torah also seems to say it's the one halacha, not because it's extinguishing. Ayin Shom. The ain Lishol that came in the Rosh Hapsil B'Salach Hashem, man. You can't ask since the end of the wick is inside the oil. How can you take oil? The Yeshua that came in Hashem and how they becleave the outspout. No, you thought that since the oil is in its own vessel. Low Mexican and people don't think it's also, even though there's a wick going from the one vessel to the second vessel. Gemara seems to say the contrary. This situation when it's going into another vessel is more lenient for them. Because there's an interruption of the vessel. Ayin Sham. If you light a wick in two vessels, the head of the wick is in one keli, the subakli and the end of the wick is in another vessel. You each name like both of them. Also, you can't do this because you might take on them Ayin Sham. By the time the kosher ain't upsila by Hashem rak b'kli achas, anytime the wick and the oil are only one keli, lo chamil are not in one keli. Now lo chamil inche. People do not take this so seriously. You do lamash ain't stop making Hashem, and they're going to make a mistake of saying there's no prohibition in taking using the oil. Vav kasol goes hashvi dim yesh kama chatichos chela b'nei adolik. There's some pieces of congealed fat in a burning candle, but not chatichos took one piece. That's not considered to be extinguishing. Veneer that feel that's a rush is paying the chauffeurs high mishum gram kibui. Even a rush which you put down and said that by a tube, you cause the extinguishing. Hachamay here is the point. Awesome. Kol Hashem mechuber zelas. They're all the oils connected to each other. Kum kachaticha achasim. They're like one piece. Ashehin chatichas chelo as opposed to individual pieces of fat. Kol chaticha b'nasa. Every piece is by itself. Vein lo shaychus and there's no connection with the other ones. Lo shaych b'zeh gram kiboy. Therefore, it's not possible to talk here about causing extinguishing, because they're all independent. I forgot that Shabbos Lavaki Oshim Mukta. I now take it out on Shabbos anyway because of Mukta. Come call nevertheless. Now clearly on Yontif. We have ramification of Yontif. Mukta Tata Chev legal when you can carry tallow to light. You keep also and extinguishing is also. And the other Mukta Torah Chaticha Achas make him. So on Yontif, we'll take one piece as long as not extinguish it from the vessel and move it and use it elsewhere.